should we be a little bit, how to put it, concerned? When Sir David Attenborough, yes, Sir David Attenborough, gets cancelled by the BBC. Or what's it going to be doing? Is it going to be showing some provocative scenes of Beatles making out or something? No. Apparently the last episode was going to be showing the United Kingdom and it's not in a great light. To be honest. But unfortunately, it's been cancelled. It's a little bit concerning when you read that the BBC is not going to be showing the final episode of David Attenborough's series because they fear it's going to provoke a right-wing backlash. So now our impartial national broadcaster is actually censoring without even trying to hide it. And quite frankly, if that doesn't scare you, well, I don't know what will, because this is just the start. And when you got Gary Lineker, well, he said, well, he compared Sue Ellen Braverman's refugee ban as, comparable with 1930s Nazi Germany. I happen to agree. Is it surprising with everything that's going on at the moment? We've got Fiona Bruce of Question Time, and what's she saying? She's justifying Alexander Boris Johnson putting his father, Stanley Johnson, onto the honours list. The man who's a wife beater and broke his wife's nose, allegedly. No, it's true, but allegedly. Apparently. What did she say? Oh, he only did it once, or words to that effect. Trying to dismiss it. So it didn't matter. No, it does matter. The poor woman had a hell of a time with that man. Whatever next. Anyway, I thought I'd have a look about an article, and I found one in The Guardian. Read it to you. That's what I'm going to do. You know my point of view. I think it's just ridiculous. But when you actually look at the nitty-gritty of it, and you think to yourself, it's even more ridiculous. And you see how we're being controlled and manipulated by the BBC. If you're that gullible, that is. If you're going to be so gullible to actually watch the BBC. Problem is, some of the stuff is legit. But then they chuck in the old bits and pieces just to, to manipulate the narrative. It's called propaganda, you know. The BBC is not going to broadcast an episode over fear of right-wing backlash. Likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg. Yeah, landowners. This is what it's about, Preem. They don't want to be seen in a bad light. But they are, because they've been, how to put it, they've been treating, the country, the land, and what have you, disrespectfully. As a result, we're suffering for it, and the land is suffering, and, it makes it even harder to grow food. The farmers, all they really care, these particular farmers, all they really care about is actually making the money, not about producing, about production. There really should be some legislation to protect against. Well, the BBC has decided not to broadcast an episode of Sir David Attenborough's flagship new series on British wildlife because of themes of a destruction of nature. Read that, destruction of nature would risk a backlash from Tory politicians and the right-wing press. Well, that's doesn't make us look very good, does it? Especially when we got Alexander Boris Johnson going about when he was Prime Minister. Environmental this, environmental that, because he thought it'd make him look good. Top 27. Or 26, or 28, I can't remember now, I'm losing count. Well, the decision has angered the programme makers and some insiders in the BBC who fear the corporation has bowed to pressure from lobbying groups with dinosaurian ways. Well, that's got to be Jacob Rees-Mogg. Soft-cap forelock, walk penny farthing. Well, the BBC strongly denied this, and that this was the case, and insisted the episode in question was never intended for broadcast, which was a lie. It was. Attenborough's highly anticipated new series, Wild Isles, looks at the beauty of the British Isles. I'm sorry if people disagree with this, but Britain is a beautiful country run by a whole load of flippin' idiots and people who just want to, well, profiteer from it. They're killing it, babe. Anyway, so it's narrated, it is, by David Attenborough, and it was expected to be a bit of a hit, with 5 episodes scheduled to go out in prime time slots. BBC. Maybe they need to pull it away and take it to ITV or Channel 4 or something instead. Well, the 6th episode was to be filmed, which is understood to be a stark look at the losses of nature in the United Kingdom and what has caused the decline. It is also understood to include some examples of rewilding. Yes, we've got a rewilding project we're doing here in France. We're planting 1,000 trees on 2 hectares of land, and there's a link in the description down below if you want to be part of that. What, not between nudist I am. Anyway, a concept that has been controversial in some of the right-wing circles, you don't say. They're not too keen on the 2035 ring, are they? Either regarding getting rid of the ICEs, the internal combustion engine, the new ones. Well, the documentary series was part funded by nature charities, the WWF, and the RSPCB. But the final episode will not be broadcast along with others and will instead be available only on BBC's iPlayer service. All 6 episodes were narrated by Attenborough and made by the production company Silverback Films. They were gorillas, maybe. That's responsible for previous series, including Our Planet, in collaboration with the BBC Natural History Unit. Now, senior sources at the BBC told the Guardian that the decision not to show the 6th episode was made to fend off potential critique from the political right. It's supposed to be independent, remember? It shouldn't be pandering to the right or the left. Well, this week, the Telegraph newspaper, the Tory Graph, attacked the BBC for creating the series and for taking funding from the 2 charities, previously criticised for their political lobbying. It's okay for the Tories to lobby, isn't it? Apparently. Well, the WWF and the RSPCB, 2 very respected charities. You really can't make this poop up, can you? You really can't. One source at the broadcaster, who asked not to be named, said lobbying groups that are desperately hanging on to their dinosaurian ways, such as farming and game industry. Yeah. Up with the beaters, don't they? Get the birds out, and then shoot the poor little blighters. Oh, but that long ago. The foxes were cornered by dogs in somebody's back garden about a week, 2 ago. Apparently, fox hunting's bad, but still going on, you know. Yeah. Shoot them, I reckon. Well, they added, frankly, this idea that the sort of, put it in a separate programme to almost parcel it to one side is disingenuous. Why don't they integrate those stories into all of them at the time? In the statement provided after the story was first published, the BBC said, "No, this is totally inaccurate. There's no 6th episode." Yes, it was. Wild Isles is always and was a 5-part series and does not shy away from environmental content. They don't make a whole episode and say, "Oh, no, we're not going to show that one." No. Humongous costs and obviously a huge amount of time and effort. The 5-part series are not shy away from environmental content, what they say. We have acquired a separate film for iPlayer from the RSPCB and WWF and Silverback Films about people working to preserve and restore the biodiversity of the British Isles. Alistair Fothergill, the director of Silverback Films and executive producer of Wild Isles, added, The BBC commissioned a 5-part Wild Isle series from us at Silverback Films back in 2017. The RSPCB and the WWF joined us as a co-production partners in 2018. It was not until the end of 2021 that the two charities commissioned Silverback Films to make a film for them that celebrates the extraordinary work of people fighting to restore nature in Britain and Ireland. The BBC acquired this film for iPlayer at the start of this year. Now, Laura Howard, who produced the programme and used to work at the BBC's Natural History Unit, said that she did not believe its messages to be political. She also told The Guardian, "I think that the facts speak for themselves, and we've worked really closely with the RSPCB in particular, who are able to fact-check all of our scripts, provide us with detailed scientific data and information about the loss of wildlife in this country. And it is undeniable. We are incredibly nature-hated." I'll tell you something I've noticed. Since I've been planting trees and putting bird boxes in and bat boxes, our nature levels have most certainly increased. Yes, the birds are pooping all over our windows. Seriously. I don't think that it is political, she says. I think it's just... If it's honest, it's not... How can it be political? It's just... Tell the truth. Well, the producer said that the film would touch on how farming practices had harmed wildlife, but would also profile farmers who had done the right thing. Balance. Doesn't sound too bad to me. Now those, well, probably Jake Rees-Mogg's going to look really bad. And maybe, Mr. Dyson. Bit of luck. Traitor. Well, those farmers are there to make the point that every farm in the country ought to be able to do a little bit, at least, of what they do. And that it is possible to farm alongside nature, to make a profit, to produce healthy food, and still run a business, I would say. I would hope so. Intensive farming is destroying our soils. Right, the soils you can't grow anyway. Not in the soil anyway. Or hydroponics in cupboards, wardrobes. You can just keep that for your cannabis properly. By the way, that stuff smoke. That's incense, not cannabis. I don't do it. I'm a good boy. Anyway, she added that she hoped a young audience would be able to find the film, as they are used to streaming on iPlayer, rather than watching a broadcast. I don't know about you, but I actually do not watch TV anymore. Everything I do is online. Mrs. does, she'll watch the Gogglebox. Not Gogglebox, but as in the television. Channel 4 News and stuff. I just basically watch bits. Always in front of my computers, I suppose. Now, Caroline Lucas, Caroline Lucas of the Green Party, MP for Brighton Pavilion, she said that for the BBC to censor of one of the nation's most informed and trusted voices, David Attenborough, on the nature and climate emergencies is nothing short of an unforgivable dereliction of duty to public service broadcasting. Which says it all, really. Well, this government has taken a wrecking ball to our environment. Look at our rivers and seas. You can't deny it. You're not just, swimming in it, paddling in it, sending your kids out in it, surfing in it, probably swallowing the odd turtle too, and a bit of pink toilet paper and the odd Tampax. No. You're also inhaling it now. It's been found to be in the micro droplets. Sea spray travels miles inland. I wouldn't go to the coast of the UK, no. No, not why, no, not now. It's quite scary doing what I'd do. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, definitely don't go to the coast. Anyway, that's another story. Done one about it already, so, check our video, other video. So, whilst putting over 1,700 pieces of environmental legislation at risk, while getting rid of 4,000 odd European laws that are rolled over, will also get rid of a lot of environmental legislation. Well, setting an air pollution target which is a decade too late, and neglecting the scandal of our sewage-filled waterways, which cannot be unexamined and unchallenged by the public. Do you really want to swim in it? Honestly? I don't understand is the people protesting against actually going in the water and swimming in it. Well, the BBC bosses must not be cowed by antagonistic culture wars stoking government ministers, putting populist and petty political games above delivering serious action to protect and restore our natural world. This episode simply must be televised. Chris Packman, who presents Spring Watch on the BBC, also criticised the decision. I should hope so. It's flipping David Attenborough. You can't criticise David Attenborough. He's an icon. Well, he told The Guardian, at this time, in our fight to save the world's biodiversity, it is irresponsible not to put that at the forefront of wildlife broadcasting. Stephen Moss, a natural historian and TV producer who has worked for the BBC on nature programmes, said that while focusing on a conservation angle could win political support for the cause, he said. Often, if you lead on environmental issues, people generally turn off. But if you drip feed it within the programmes and then hit people with a message at the end, and you convince them how brilliant wildlife is, and it tends to work. It just reminds me of the drip, drip, drip that encouraged and then, wow, brainwash people. A whole load of people. 52% of the voting public. Put the cross in the wrong box. Oh dear. 17.4 million of them. Drip, drip, drip. Oh, the EU was so terrible. No. Oh, they're not Democrat. Oh, is they? Oh, you didn't vote. That's because you didn't bother to vote for your MEP, you plonkers. Anyway, so with Blue Planet, you got Theresa May standing up and Philip Hammond, Chancellor, who was that Chancellor at the time, saying this is the BBC, as it is very best. Doing what the Conservatives never do, basically praising the BBC and saying this is fantastic. So maybe that will happen with this. I wouldn't be at all surprised if the Tory politicians jump on the bandwagon and go on about how brilliant it is. Well, the charities involved in the programme are already using it to launch a campaign. Unaffiliated with the BBC, called Save Our Wild Isles. It's backfiring on the old Tories, isn't it? And they've gained the support of the National Trust. Good. But they won't get the English Heritage involved. No. I bet they wouldn't get the National Farmers Union involved. You know, batty batters. Minute batters. Bet they won't get involved. Maybe they should. Because if you look after our environment, you'll actually look after our farmers as well. Providing they want to embrace it. Anything is they won't be able to produce it as much, because there's something to be said for the fact that intensive farming does produce a lot of food. Not great food. Maybe we want to get rid of the waste. We waste so much food. It's unreal how much food that we waste. Because of the wrong shape or size or all. Madness. Anyway, you tell me. Anyway. Anyway. My secret word of today, I'll tell you in a minute. Anyway, support the channel. You can do that on Patreon or buy some coffee. And also, we're planting trees here. I mentioned it earlier. We are actually planting trees. 1,000 trees on 2 hectares of land. If you want to be part of that, the GoFundMe link down below. And what we'll do is we'll plant a tree on your behalf. But also, I'll make a sign. Sign to go with that tree with your name on, or maybe in memory of a loved one. Yes. Secret word of today. The video's got a bit long, actually. Secret word of today is the Titanic. Because I just feel with the Tories, it's all about propaganda. And in 1943, well, during the Second World War, the Germans launched another one of their propaganda films, and it was a depiction of the Titanic. Well, their version of it, anyway. So my secret word of today is, well, it's the Titanic, because the environment is going down with it, it's under these Tories. You tell me, please leave it in the comments down below. Anyone read Das Boot? Das Boot. Das Boot. Das Boot. Oh dear. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I suppose it's time for me to go. So I'm going to say ta-ta, you know. I thought it was a bit of a long one, but you know. Still there.